And we're going to go through these quarterbacks as I ranked their efforts in their debuts on Sunday. None of the rookies won. And in fact, I got a not so fun fact for you. The last time a rookie first overall pick, let me see, last first round quarterback to win his first career start was Tua in week 8 of 2020. And then the other crazy fact was the last number 1 overall pick to win his first career start. Do you know who that was?
No.
David Carr, 2002.
Jesus. Jesus, Mary, and Joseph, as my mother-in-law, bless her soul, used to say.
Right, absolutely. So Debo has the graphic on here. If you're listening, first round quarterbacks are 0-10 in the first start of the last 3 seasons. And I think Kyler actually tied in his debut. So he's actually the real winner among these guys. But Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Mac Jones, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Jordan Love, all lost. Kenny Pickett lost. And these rookies that we're about to talk about did not fare any better. But I think there's some encouraging signs. My number 1 quarterback in terms of how I ranked the 3 rookies who started, number 1, Anthony Richardson.
Yeah, that I would agree, because the reason I would say that is because he's going to stick out more than CJ and more than Bryce because of his athleticism, because he can run around and make some unique plays with his legs. And he does have a rocket front arm. There's still questions with his accuracy.
Yep.
And him getting through his reads. But he would stick out because he's just a superior athlete with that size. So he's going to make more splash plays that jump out at you than the other 2 did.
Yeah, it's funny. I looking at my notes. He took some needless sacks, had too many turnover-worthy plays. Need to clean that up. And I said where Bryce and CJ needed to be perfect on those field side outs, AR5 didn't need to, because he threw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. So even if it was just a little bit inside to the receiver, the field side, it's still the DB didn't have time to get there. Those are things that obviously want to clean up. And let me ask you about the way the game ended. Jalen Hurts, when he runs, he knows to slide or get out of bounds. It feels like Anthony Richardson is taking the RG3 rookie season approach and just trying to run people over. Different body frames, but of course RG3, that shortened his career. And he ended up getting his shoulder banged up late in the game. And then I think later it was diagnosed as a bone bruise. He had come back in for one more play. How do you explain to him that he can't do that?
Well, when you get your arse knocked around and take some of the hits that he's going to take, if he doesn't learn how to get down, he'll learn pretty quick, or he's just a numbskull. So,
and he's a good kid. He's not a dumb kid. So you hopefully
kid.
Yeah.
It's just, in order to survive in this league as a running quarterback, you have to know when to go down and live for another battle. And you're not going to truck guys at this level. You may have been able to do that at college, but here they're going to light you up, and you can only take so many hits. And that's the one thing that I'm sure that the coaching staff and everybody is telling him: listen, when it's over, just go down.
Mm-hmm.
You need to get the first down, but you still don't want to take away that electric playmaking ability either. So there's a fine line, and the only way you're going to learn that is through experience.
Yeah, and the next to last running play that he had, where he hurt his shoulder and came out for a minute, and Gardner Minshew came in, that was Josh Allen, Jaguars edge rusher, that stacked him up. You're not running through Josh Allen. He's a grown-ass man. So lesson learned. But I think you have to be extremely excited if you're a Colts fan, and if you're Chris Ballard, and if you're Shane Steichen, that, okay, that's not too big for him.
No, it's not going to be too big for him because of his athleticism. And what he lacks as being a quarterback right now, he makes up with his unique athletic ability.
Okay. Let's go to Atlanta. Bryce Young made his debut down there for the Carolina Panthers. He is number 2 on my list I had all these guys ranked pretty closely together. He finished 20 of 38, 146 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Both interceptions are the most un-Bryce-like interceptions you'll see. Both times Jesse Bates, the center fielder / safety, was standing in the middle of the field. For some reason, Bryce is throwing it in, but he didn't see the backside safety and just threw it right to Jesse Bates. Maybe the second interception, he thought the receiver was going to cut in front of the safety. It didn't happen, but I would imagine, and I think Bryce said afterwards, that he can't make those throws. I thought he threw with anticipation, which he's known to do. I thought he moved pretty well in the pocket. You talked about it at Alabama. Sometimes he left the pocket early. I didn't think he did that here. And I thought overall, I'll give him a C+.
Yeah, no, I'd agree. The thing is that these young quarterbacks have to learn is that the throws that you were able to complete in college, you're not going to be able to complete in the NFL. So when you have a Jesse Bates who has played a long time in the league and has played at a very high level, and he knows how to bait the
Oh
quarterback
boy.
times and maybe just kind of sit there and see uh, and reading the quarterback's eyes and the jump that he gets on those throws, that's what young quarterbacks are going to have to learn. What you can get away with and what you can't get away with in this league. And sometimes you have to make those type of mistakes to understand and to grow from going forward.
Frank Reich was unconcerned with the way Bryce said he performed, he said afterwards. But here are the week one starting quarterbacks under Frank Reich going back to 2018 to present day. Every year, it's someone different. Andrew Luck in 2018, then Jacoby Brissett, Phillip Rivers, Carson Wentz, Matt Ryan, and finally Bryce Young. So I'm sure the plan is to make sure this year's starting quarterback on week one is the same one for next year and the year beyond that.
Yeah, and Bryce Young, knowing Bryce Young and knowing what type of character and person he is, that he will learn from these experiences, and I can almost bet that he's not going to make some of these same mistakes you're seeing early in the season, that those won't be the same mistakes that he's making at the end of the season.
No, I agree. All right, finally, C.J. Stroud, and again, there wasn't a huge difference between these three quarterbacks, but I ranked them for the sake of the internet. 28 of 44, 242 passing yards, didn't throw a touchdown, didn't have any turnovers either, or didn't have an interception. First player to catch his own first career completion since 1992 at Southern Miss. Did you go to Southern Miss? I think it went to Southern Miss.
Who? Yeah, that one you got me on.
Brett Favre.
Brett Favre. Wow.
Southern Miss, right?
Southern Miss. Yep.
Yeah.
Hattiesburg.
So, interestingly enough, Des Ridder also caught his own pass on Sunday, but he's a year two quarterback. So here's the thing. C.J. Stroud, I thought he looked out of sorts early, but he also wasn't playing the Falcons defense.
No, and it's a pretty good Baltimore defense. And the one thing that I really noticed they were bringing pressure from all different sides of the field. And sometimes 4-man rush, sometimes 5-man rush. And that is hard on a young quarterback. And learning what the coverages are behind those pressure packages that Baltimore was sending. You've seen you've seen the arm talent. There's no question he has the ability to play in the league. But just like we talked about these other two, you're going to have to learn and grow from that experience that you just went through.
Yeah, he threw his anticipation on some comebacks. I love that. Looked like he felt comfortable just throwing slants all day long, usually to Nico Collins, just getting the ball out. If it got past the first defender there, made some anticipation throws, as I mentioned. He took a red zone sack late, and I think the Ravens brought 5 or 6, and you would like to have seen him get the ball out quickly. But at that point, your head is probably swimming because these are things you have literally never seen in person, right?
No, and you don't see it in the preseason either. So
right.
The only way you learn is by going through some of these growing pains when the regular season starts, and you get more experience under your belt, what's probably coming your way. But that takes time.
So if you're the coaches, go ahead. Sorry, what'd you say?
You need to be patient with these young guys.
All right, that's my next question.
Yep.
If you're the GM or coaches for these three teams, you're satisfied with how week one went, right?
Well, you're not satisfied. You lost.
With your quarterback's performance.
You're not satisfied, but you know that was a great experience for them, and that this guy is probably going to continue to grow and progress through the season. The more experiences and the more that he sees.
Exactly. You're not like, oh my God, what did we do? You feel pretty good about
the
long-term prospects for sure.